Hey, what's going on YouTube land? It's me, TJ, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Wrestling Nostalgia, where I get my wrestling content on these videos. And today, we are going to be reviewing SummerSlam Night 2. So, let's get right up into it because we opened up Night 2 with the Women's World Championship, Naomi putting up her Women's World title against Rhea and Io Sky. So, this match started off with Io Sky and Rhea trying to double team them up on Naomi. And Naomi somehow, some way, finagles her way out of that after a while of them trying to like tug on the woman pull weed. And she wound up dominating like some of this match, like a good first half of this matchup. And I was like, okay, there we go, Queen. You better ragtag them heifers. You better show them what you made of. And then after a while, it went back and forth. But towards the end of the match, Rhea Ripley wound up hitting the avalanche riptide, and I was like, oh goodness, what we about to do here? So then she wound up getting the pin, but it only went to a 2 count, and Rhea Ripley wound up getting rolled up by my girl Naomi. 1, 2, 3. Naomi beats Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Yes, she actually won, and I'm happy about it. And I'm happy that she pinned Rhea Ripley because, baby, she needed to get pinned. Because if Rhea Hogan would have if Rhea Hogan would have went over again, baby, I would have known something. But you know what? I'm glad this night started off really, really hot. So we're just going to go with that. Congratulations to my queen bee, Naomi. And I'm so glad that she retained the Women's World Championship. Baby, it was no other answer but her retaining. Because for one, if Io would have won it back, then what was the purpose of taking it off her in the first place? And if Rhea would have won, we would have been in for another lackluster reign, because I think you fans forget that the last time she was a Women's World Champion and it was a long reign. I'm talking about the first time when it went to the SmackDown and to the World's Women's Championship, it was nothing to be desired, okay? It left little to be desired. So, yeah, no. I was not here for no, this is my brutality. No, absolutely not. But we're going to end it right here. Congratulations to Queen Bee Naomi. She's still your Women's World Champion. Bank on it.
So you need to get in the back of the line, bitch.
In our next matchup, it is the tag team TLC Ladder Match. And look, I'm going to just put the graphic up because those are too many teams to be naming. But anyways, all these teams did their big one, and all of them were like gaining up on the Y6, and rightfully so. And then everybody from there just like broke down and was like beating each other up. And like I said, this was a jam-packed action match. Like, I expect nothing less of them. And unfortunately, the Y6 wind up rearing their ugly heads, and yeah, they won. But before we get there, yo, the way Candace went through that daggone ladder, oh my goodness, I thought she was going to be down forever, child. I was like, because she's so tiny and she just bam. I was like, oh my goodness. So I thought it was going to be like an angle where Johnny Gargano was going to be like leave with his wife and be like, hey, you're just going to be on your own. But that didn't happen. I guess the show must continue. But anyways, I mean, Y6-1, it is what it is. I ain't gonna lie, I just sucked the air out of the arena to me because all these teams, and I mean, I guess they just won the title. So, I mean, why would I expect for them to lose it already? It is what it is, hey. So, let's just go ahead and move it on to the next one.
Congratulations.
In our next matchup, it is the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. It is Becky Lynch putting up her title against La Valkyria in a no DQ and no countouts match. I don't know why they didn't just make it a encore match or a falls count anywhere, something of that magnitude. But hey, it is what it is. These two actually had a pretty solid bout. The crowd wasn't really all that into it. But to me, in my opinion, I mean, the match was a little bit better than what I thought it was going to be. And I mean, it should, because I mean, it's a no DQ match. There's no reason why y'all can't put on like a pretty innovative, you know, tactics and maneuvers and all that other stuff. And, you know, they had some pretty decent spots, but it was a pretty back and forth bout. Becky and Lara was like going back and forth. At first, Lara in the beginning was like getting the best of Becky, and then Becky wound up doing underhanded tactics, and she wound up handcuffing Lara. I was like, Becky, what type of kinky you into, girl? Did Seth teach you a thing or two? But anyways, she was just ragtagging her like a rag doll and just throwing her all around the ring. And what I don't understand, and I saw it too, why, Lara, was you handcuffed and then the cuffs broke or you got undone? Why would you put it back in? And then try to take it back off after a little bit more offense later. Girl, anyways, Becky after a while wound up getting the better half of La Valkyria up until Bayley came in, and Bayley was just ragtagging Becky Lynch like all over the ring. I was like, goodness gracious, she's not playing with her. And I remember she tried to like do a running like leg thing on a barricade, but Becky wound up moving. So then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Becky Lynch wound up getting leg dropped by Lara Valkyria. And it was just so funny because I was like, ooh, I know her neck hurt. But she wound up going through the table. She tried to throw her back in the ring and then try to like finish her off. But Bayley wound up accidentally hitting Lara Valkyria with a steel chain. And then Becky wound up taking advantage. And then bam, she hits her manhandle slam. 1, 2, 3. Becky is still the women's Intercontinental Champion. And Lara cannot challenge for the women's Intercontinental Championship ever again, long as Becky is champion. And to me, I think this was the right move. Maybe this will be a Bayley heel turn, which I thought it was going to be at SummerSlam, not like on Raw or anything like that. That would be stupid. And I was just thinking to myself when it went off, I'm like, okay, that's it. No Bayley heel turn. Like, what's going on here? So I guess Lyra's going to turn heel. I guess. I don't know. But I just thought this was a big missed opportunity. But hey, what do I know? On to the next one. In our next matchup, it is the steel cage match for the United States Championship. It is Solo Sikoa, the United States Champion, putting up his title against Jacob Fatu. So in this matchup, Jacob Fatu basically dominated majority of this match. But of course, Solo, he ain't no slouch in that ring, and he definitely fought back as well. I was wondering when the MFTs was going to come out because... that's what they know for. Like, you know, we all know what that is. So they wound up coming out helping Solo Sikoa a little bit, and they try to open up the steel cage and everything like that. And Tala Tonga wound up handcuffing Jacob to the cage, so he couldn't like get out of there. And also, before I continue, I remember Solo wound up kicking out of the moonsault, and I was like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I never seen nobody kick out of the moonsault. And also, Jacob actually kicked out of Solo Samoa Spike. They both was evened up on that. But anyways, somehow, some way, Jacob wound up breaking out of the handcuffs. So then he was like hustling and tussling, trying to get Solo back inside of the steel cage. JC wound up getting hit with the steel door, and he's still trying to get Solo in the steel cage, Jacob is. And then all of a sudden, this is when Tyler wound up kicking the steel cage into Jacob's face, and then by escaping the cage, Solo Sikoa wound up retaining his United States Championship. This match was actually pretty solid. It wasn't like the best thing on the card, but it did what it did. But anyway, Jimmy Uso wound up coming out too. I almost forgot about that. He wound up helping out Jacob. I meant to say that like towards the end of the match or whatever, but what ended up happening was Solo Sikoa wound up telling JC to get in the ring and like take care of Jacob Fatu, but Jimmy Uso wind up kicking JC and then getting him in the ring, and then I believe it was Tama Tonga, so it was JC, so they wound up getting worked out by Jacob Fatu. He wound up doing a moonsault off the top of the steel cage. This is when the night ends. I know one thing. I hope Jacob Fatu's leg isn't injured again, because the last time when he did like a big move like that, I believe it was at Survivor Series. So hopefully, he's okay and everything like that. Unfortunately, he didn't go home with the gold, but hey, better luck next time, kid. In our next matchup, it is for the IC Championship. It is Dominic Mysterio putting up his title against AJ Styles. So this matchup actually was pretty decent. These two were going back and forth quite a bit, and I wasn't disappointed, but it was a lot of Eddie Guerrero references outside of the clothing. Yo, I remember seeing their gear and everything like that. I remember even in the entrance, AJ Styles was wearing Eddie Guerrero inspired gear and Eddie Guerrero inspired entrance. He even had the lowrider or whatever coming out, and I was like, oh gosh, okay. So the two, like I said before, were going back and forth and everything like that. And AJ Styles was kind of matching Dominic Mysterio's like luchador style as well. I remember he did that tornado DDT. Man, that was really, really wild. But anyways, towards the end of the match, Dominic Mysterio tried to do the whole Eddie Guerrero trick, the whole, oh, I didn't use the chair, he did. So he like slammed the chair on the ground and got on the ground, act like he got hurt. So did AJ Styles, and he had the chair around his neck, and he was all like twitching and stuff. I was like, what in the world do y'all got going on here? So anyways, a little bit back and forth later, AJ Styles tried to do the little calf crusher, but Dominic Mysterio wound up having his boot or whatever like unhooked a little bit. And I'm like, wait a minute, what the... I kind of already like figured that was going to happen because like I already seen like in the match, like his boot or whatever, like he was undoing his boot. So then AJ Styles wound up pulling the boot off by accident. So Dominic wound up like hitting AJ Styles with the boot, and the referee didn't see it because he was busy trying not to get hit himself by either of these two. Then he goes to the top rope, frog splash, 1, 2, 3. Dominic retains the IC championship. So it is what it is. I actually didn't have a dog in this fight. I mean, either way, I was okay with whether it be Dominic retaining or a new IC champion. But hey, I'm going to go ahead and let Mercedes Moné tell AJ Styles where he can go.
So you need to get in the back of the line, bitch.
And finally, we are here at our main event. It is John Cena putting up his WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes in a street fight match. So I'm going to get right into it. These two give each other a hug, and then they proceed to go ahead and pound each other's face in. Then after that, these two, you know, throw everything but the kitchen sink at each other. These two even go out into the rafters, like where the fans and stuff are, and was like beating each other up to a pulp. And one thing I don't like a whole lot of false finishes. Like Cody wound up kicking out of like 4, 8, 9, 10, 30 AAs, and then John Cena wound up kicking out of like 10, 30, 40, 50, 60 freaking crossroads. It got very repetitive, and I just was not here for it. And I ain't gonna lie, it kind of took me out. Don't get me wrong, the match itself was solid. I wasn't like all that enthused with the match, but it wasn't like a horrible match to me, just to me, in my opinion. But these two, you know, gave it their all. Honestly, they did. But in the end, Cody Rhodes wound up putting John Cena through a table with the Cody Cutter. And then after that, Cody Rhodes wound up hitting the Crossroads, and then 1, 2, 3, your new WWE World Champion. Honestly, I am not here for another lackluster title reign from Cody Rhodes. I could have did without that like for quite a while, honestly. And I'm not interested at all in another face reign. Now, if he's turning heel, which didn't make any sense for him not to turn heel. I mean, he might as well had laid out Cody Rhodes to signify that he is a heel now, being as though that John Cena turned face. And now, I mean, it only made sense. So I didn't understand why did he stayed face. It didn't make sense, but whatever. Anyways, that's not the big pop of the night. The big pop of the night is that Brock Lesnar, of all people, came back. And he laid out John Cena. Of course, you know, he wasn't coming out to congratulate him and be like, hey, you know, this is your, you know, final hurrah. So come on, give me a hug, buddy. Like, but only thing about this, it doesn't make sense. Like, why did he attack John Cena? Being as though, I mean, granted, yeah, they had a SummerSlam match before, like, well, over 10 years ago or close to it or something like that. I don't remember. I'm gonna look it up. But yeah, true. But still, it just didn't make any sense. Like, you could tell Triple H just wanted to get a cheap pop from out of this because, like, it just don't make any sense. Is Brock Lesnar going to be John Cena's last opponent? Like, it didn't make any sense. And I know John Cena is in another movie, so I mean, I kind of already knew when I heard that he was going to drop the title. But did it have to be the Cody Rhodes again? I'm so glad that y'all fans finally sat up there and seen through Cody Rhodes and booed him, because it really got repetitive for y'all to, yay, oh, Cody, yay. It, like, the dude is boring and he bland. Like, he's vanilla, like Trick Williams had said about somebody else though before. So it's like, what do y'all see in this man? Like, But anyways, that's how the night ended, with John Cena getting F5'd by returning Brock Lesnar. So we have to wait and see how Cody Rhodes' championship reign is going to turn out this time. I'm pretty sure his reign isn't going to end until WrestleMania, if that. He may even retain there, but honestly, I could care less. But comment down below, how did you feel about SummerSlam, SummerScam? Outside of the ending to this night, everything else was pretty decent. Definitely the opener. Opener definitely is the show stealer, and y'all already know what my thumbnail is going to be. But comment down below, like, share, and subscribe. Help me grow the channel. Your love and support is definitely greatly appreciated. Welcome. Peace. TJ, I'm out.
And still.